Someone I have admired from afar since 2013 is on the feel good frequency next.
She's a friend who'll show up with coffee or wine when you need it most. But probably wine. Good vibes are on the way. Welcome to Aaron O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency.
Hi, welcome back to Aaron O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency. I'm Aaron. It is terrific to have you here. On the show today is a woman I have admired from afar for many years. She is a Boston Marathon bombing survivor, and she has taken what happened to her and built an entire foundation to help other people. And I couldn't be more in awe of her and what she has accomplished. I am so honored today to be joined by Heather Abbott. She is such a pillar of strength and she is a marathon bombing survivor. Welcome and thank you so much for taking time to hang out with me.
Oh, thanks for having me, Erin.
Absolutely. So I was saying off the air here to you that I have been a fan for years. I remember praying for you right when everything happened at the finish line. And you were affected not by the first bomb, but the second one. Is that right?
Right.
You used to go there all the time with a group of friends. How many years in a row did you go before this happened?
I don't know exactly, but it was sort of a regular tradition. So we had been for several years.
That's the thing about Marathon Monday that anybody that doesn't live in Boston probably doesn't realize. It just becomes like something that's on your schedule, like St. Patrick's Day or New Year's or something. It's such a big deal here that people always make plans to get together and go into the city because it's just so fun to cheer for strangers.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot of fun, and I always enjoyed it, and have enjoyed it since that one day.
That one very bad day, but I'm so grateful that you're able to enjoy it again. But I wanted to just real quick go back to when that happened because you've done such an incredible full circle and you are absolutely making the world a better place. And I'm just in awe of you. When everything happened, were you awake for the whole thing?
I was awake for the whole thing.
I'm so sorry. I was
Yeah,
hoping you weren't.
I was. Yeah, I heard the first explosion, and it was just 12 seconds before the second one happened, just a few feet from where I was standing. So I don't remember exactly what happened when it went off, but after hearing it, and the next thing I knew, I was blown inside of a restaurant that I was about to go into. The front doors were open, and I was inside on the ground.
Oh my gosh, was that Forum?
Yes.
That used to be Vox Populi years ago. We used to
Yeah.
broadcast from there every single year, and I know the distance and the fact that you were blown all the way inside is it's a miracle that you're alive.
It is. Yes.
I read that 2 people carried you and helped you and got you to an ambulance.
Yeah, there were actually 2 women who stopped to help me. I had realized when I was lying on the ground that everybody was running by me to get away from the street. They were going out the back door of the restaurant, but I knew I couldn't run because my foot was in a lot of pain. And I was very lucky that these 2 women stopped, and I think they realized that, something was severely wrong with my foot. I didn't look at it, and one of them, her name's Erin Chatham, told me that she was gonna go get her husband because I think she realized it needed to be picked up, and I was really hoping she would come back. And of course she did, and, her husband, Matt Chatham, carried me, to the back of the restaurant where people were gathering outside.
They ended up flagging down an ambulance or getting you to the hospital. Is that how it happened?
Yeah, there happened to be some medical professionals gathered with the crowd back where, Matt brought me to, and they had, asked one of my friends to give his belt to so that they could tie a tourniquet, around my leg, and they laid me, flat on a door that was in a dumpster,
Wow.
and it took quite a while for the ambulance to get there, at least it felt that way, and when they did, I think they had to take me out on this door
Oh my gosh.
into the ambulance.
I'm so grateful that she came back
Me too.
I mean, and that was just the day that you could see so many people, strangers, "What can I do? How can I help?" And you hear the stories of people that were running the marathon that just kept running to hospitals to donate blood. I can't imagine being in the middle of it, just hearing about it. I wasn't at the finish line that day, but hearing about all of it and hearing your story as it happened, I'm so thankful that you had the right people around you that got you the help that you needed. And then you were in the hospital how long when you had to make a decision about your foot?
I think it was about a week. They were doctors were still doing surgeries to assess the damage, and it was I think a little less than a week before they came to me with a recommendation to amputate my leg, and it was one exactly 1 week after the marathon that the amputation happened.
I mean, I know that was the recommendation, but what would the other choice have been? You may never get feeling in it again, or obviously it's the right thing to do. But as far as when they recommended doing that, was that because of quality of life?
Yeah, my foot and ankle were completely shattered. So the doctor described to me that I would have to have like multiple dozens and dozens of surgeries to try to somewhat repair the damage that was done. And that I would probably have to walk with some sort of cane or assistive device. And I'd only probably be able to wear sneakers. And I would be in pain a lot of the time. And he was very honest with me when I asked him if it was him, what would he do? And he said he would have his leg amputated.
We have the best doctors here. I'm so glad that he gave you the advice of what he would do for himself or a family member because you were 38, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's so young. My gosh, you have your whole life ahead of you. So it's a brave decision, but it also did you give yourself time to mourn it before you were trying to kind of cheer yourself up about it? Because I'm sure you had so many people around you and you were like, at least I'm alive. But at the same time, that's a major loss.
It is, and it was a difficult I mean, I say it was a difficult choice, it wasn't, based upon what I heard my life would be like if I didn't do it, it
Mhm.
was kind of an easy choice, but still difficult to come to terms with that was, what I was facing. But I think what helped me a lot was the other amputees who came to visit me in the hospital.
Oh,
Um, some veterans from all over the country, of course, heard about what happened, and many of them had lost legs in Iraq or Afghanistan. And they made a concerted effort to come to Boston and visit the new amputees and people like me who were in those difficult decision making processes.
that just gave me chills from head to toe. I didn't know that. That is beautiful kindness.
It really was, and there was a gentleman that came to visit me, he was a Marine, and he had, lost his leg below the knee, like my amputation would be, and he had tried to save it for several years. So he was, really looking forward to talking to me and kind of explaining his experience and how he wished he had done it earlier. We became close friends, we're still friends now.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness you got both sides of it. I feel like that was such a blessing. That guy specifically who went through what you could have gone through if you wanted to try to hold on to your foot, but instead went in the other direction. And he's saying he wish he had done that years before he did.
Yeah. He did. He's still a really good friend. I really appreciated his advice. And to be able to see somebody walk, actually walk into my hospital room and see what it looked like and how they walked was extremely helpful. And there were other amputees that visited as well. So their help was tremendous in helping me like see what my life was going to be like. And I could see that I could have a normal life. I could be independent.
I love that for you. I also think that it's terrific that when you were at the point where you needed to get yourself a prosthetic, you were able to do that. When I was reading about you and a little bit about the foundation, it seems like you were able to get a prosthetic pretty easily without fighting insurance or anything like that.
I was. It was because it was such obviously a public event and so different nonprofits and foundations knew about all of us who were injured and were offering help. So I did have the opportunity to have all different types of prosthetics that I would never have been able to afford on my own.
So from the beginning, were you taught how to walk with them? And because you had different kinds, is that a different process as to how to learn to walk? I know you have one that you can walk with heels.
Mhm.
Is it all different?
Somewhat. My regular everyday prosthetic, it took a while to get used to that. When I first got it and walked in it for the first time, it was really shocking because I thought about all those amputees that I met in the hospital and how easy it looked for them. And it felt nothing like my real leg. That was the last thing I knew. I'm so used to it now that I don't remember what it feels like to have 2 legs, but, at the time, it was shocking, it was disappointing, I wasn't sure how I was gonna do it, but, of course, eventually I learned what was I was in physical therapy for a long, long time, and when it was time to get my high heel leg, the physical therapist that I was working with came up with some creative ways to, help me figure out how to walk on it.
Oh, that's so cool. And I know you had somebody reach out. Now, I don't know if this was before or after you started your foundation that you had teenager in, was it North Carolina? She reached out to you because she found you on social media and was thinking about getting a prosthetic where she could wear a heel for her prom. Was
Yeah.
that before or after you started your foundation?
It was before, and it's actually one of the things that inspired me to start the foundation.
Will you tell that story? Because it's really something special.
Yeah, like you said, I was very lucky to be able to have access to all those different type of prosthetic devices, and I began to recognize that this was not the norm. I remember sitting at a prosthetist's office getting my cosmetic leg made that looked like my real leg, and the artist who was working on it was working on that, a high heel leg, a water leg, and she said to me, "You're a lucky girl." And I remember thinking like, "I don't feel so lucky
Yeah.
sitting in a chair with one leg." But I know what she meant now. As I began to get involved with the Amputee Coalition and get certified to visit amputees myself, like those veterans had done for me, I realized I would stroll in with my high heel leg and visit women that would get, this sense that they were gonna get part of their life back or, be who they were before. And it started to occur to me that they probably couldn't afford it. And that's what happened when, Savannah reached out to me. She was asking me about the cost of my leg. She said she always wanted a high heel one. She had been an amputee, since practically birth. Just a few months after she was born, she had to have her leg amputated. And she said when I told her how much it cost, she said, "Well, I guess I can either go to my prom with a high heel leg or ask my parents to pay for my first year of college, but I don't think they're gonna do both."
Oh my gosh, I had no idea it was that kind of money. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's very
Oh,
expensive.
wow. Like tens and thousands of dollars for that.
Right.
And insurance, for the most part, will they take care of maybe one?
Yeah. They typically pay for, like a basic metal prosthetic device. So no cosmetics or nothing that's, designed for any athletics like running or swimming. They just give you one and that's it. So if you're on your own if you want anything else.
So this just brought something up in my head when you're saying you said a water leg, which I assume you use for showering.
Yeah.
So you're saying that somebody that doesn't have the means to get a water leg and instead has, like you said, a metal one, just has to sit in the shower, get like a shower chair or something, or hold on to the wall while they shower?
Yes.
Oh my God, that is so wrong.
It is. In some cases, I know some people who have been successful, arguing for it with insurance, but not always, and it's always a fight. It's always, it's very difficult to get these things covered.
Oh my God, that is so infuriating, especially when you have had an entirely different life before this. And I would think that a massive part of your mental health would be I want to get as close to normal, quote unquote, as I was before.
Right.
And if you don't have an insurance company or a way to get a leg that you could even swim with. How are you supposed to ever go into the ocean and enjoy things you did before? I can't understand how that wouldn't be a mandatory thing. That is so wrong.
It feels very wrong, but that's how it is, unfortunately.
So that was a big thing that started you thinking about starting a foundation?
It was, yeah. I met a lot of people who just weren't, they had an amputation in some sort of traumatic event, whether it was a car accident or a motorcycle accident or a wide variety of things. But the whole world didn't know about them, like they knew about those of us who were injured in the Boston Marathon bombing. So they didn't have a one fund, a Boston One fund to draw funds from. They didn't have charities and nonprofits that knew about them. They had to find these places to reach out for help, and they were competing with all the other people who needed them too. And it just felt, as grateful as I was for everything that I was given, it didn't feel fair to other people, and it
Yeah.
bothered me. And so I really wanted to figure out a way to give back. I was so fortunate to have been given what I was, that I wanted to be able to help other people.
You are such a good human. Oh my god, am I glad you're here. So, then you started this foundation. What was the year? Was it 2014?
Yes.
Just the year after. Wow.
Yeah, and I had been thinking about it. Was giving a speech at a big conference in Orlando, in the summer of 2014, and I met a woman at the organization's event and was talking to her about what my idea of starting a foundation, and she wanted to help me, and she did. She found the right people to help get us set up and participate on our board of directors and get us going, and we took off from there.
So now your foundation, explain to me what somebody would need to do to apply for a prosthetic.
We have an application on our website where people can apply. We ask them to provide some information about the cause of their amputation and why they are looking for the particular device that they want, whether they have insurance and have been denied. We ask for a quote from their prosthetist to see what the cost is like.
Oh my gosh, you have helped people, I'm guessing, from all over the country?
Yes,
Oh.
think it is 43 states so far.
Oh my gosh, how many people?
336, I think.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
is, incredible.
It
Oh my
is,
god, I'm
and
choking back tears. Wow.
to me, it sounds like a small number for having been around that long, but we're a small organization, we're all volunteers. I finally brought on somebody part-time a couple years ago to help when I had to go back to work full-time, but they're so expensive. We don't have huge numbers because we're paying for something that's extremely expensive, and we're, a grassroots.
I just feel like those are such huge numbers, like you're saying, for a grassroots organization. And I think of every single person. It's when I think of those numbers, I'm thinking of faces and stories. You must have had so many people send thank you letters or maybe pictures and stuff. Is there one in particular or two that just stand out that every time you think of it, you're like, I love that I started this organization?
Oh, there's so many.
I
There's
bet.
so many I can think of. Most people that, receive a prosthetic from us want to do something to help. They wanna help fundraise, or they wanna speak to other amputees. They wanna be able to do something to give back, and, several of them have. And a couple of examples I can think of is, a woman from New Hampshire who we gave it was a water leg. She was an athlete and was, I think, 19 at the time. She lost her leg in a moped accident on Martha's Vineyard. And she went on to be on the show Survivor. She's
Get
a
out!
Yeah. She's a Paralympian. She's really accomplished a lot, and she started her own foundation since being injured. And so, that to me is makes me really proud of the work we've done, because now we have somebody that's had all these great accomplishments and also is paying it forward. And
Yes.
she's pregnant.
Oh my
She
gosh.
she got
The
married.
news gets better and better and better.
Yeah, she's a really good example of someone who didn't let, a tragedy ruin her life. And her amputation is above the knee, which is more difficult than mine. But she's lived her life. She got married. She looks like she had a beautiful wedding. I saw some pictures, and now I know she's expecting. So, she's a great example of why we do this.
Yeah, she definitely is. And you paying it forward the way that you have is so it's just stunning and it's got to give you a sense of pride. You must be so proud in like quiet moments that you were able to take, I would think, the worst thing that ever happened to you and make it into something that is helping people all over the country.
I am proud of it. I just wished we could help everybody. That's
Yeah.
the difficult thing about it. We can't, and that's the hard part.
That just shows what a humongous heart you have, though. So I noticed too that you now have bibs for charity runners for the Boston Marathon. How long have you been paired up with the marathon and been able to do that?
I think the first time was 2015. 2015 was the first year that we had a team. It was 2 people run the marathon for us. And we've gotten more bibs since then. And as people have heard about us, we've had qualified runners that don't need one of our bibs volunteer to raise funds for us and join the team.
Oh,
This year we were a team of 17.
wow, that's a big jump from two.
Yeah, and they raised about $224,000.
Oh,
And
oh my God.
we had, our first beneficiary ever run the Boston Marathon, and he finished. And
Just this year?
this year, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, that's
It was
amazing.
really amazing. And he proposed to his longtime girlfriend right in front of us at mile 26.
You are your own movie. This is incredible. This at least has to get on Lifetime. Are you kidding?
It was a great moment. I mean, we were really worried about him finishing because he had some, issues with his leg that prohibited him from training as he was expecting to. I think the energy of the crowd is what pushed him through, and he finished in a decent time, and he had a support runner from our team with him, and I think also knowing that he had to give his girlfriend that ring pushed him as well.
That's some pretty good incentive right there.
Yeah.
You don't wanna be like, "Hey, can you meet me back at mile 17? I got something to tell you."
Right.
And it must have been so great too because that's where you have your big foundation party is right at the finish line, right?
Yeah,
So you guys
it
were all
was.
there. Ah.
We were all there. We have videos from every angle. It was really a special time.
Do you have any of that footage up on your Facebook page or on the foundation's website or anything? Because if not, you need to put it up.
We do, yeah,
Oh,
I think we
great.
do have some on our Facebook page.
I'm so excited about that. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. So as far as other ways that you and your foundation raise money, what else do you do during the year? Do you have different fundraising evenings or anything like that?
We haven't, had other fundraisers in a while. The Boston Marathon has been the most successful one for us, so we put a lot of time and energy into that. We do have some other, small fundraisers that people help out with through, like, a jewelry company, or some of our runners will run on their own and raise money. We had one runner run across 3 different states in New England raising money for us.
Oh my gosh, that's
So,
amazing.
yeah. So, people help out like that, and, we are also trying to make efforts to get some corporate sponsors and additional grants that will help us fund the prosthetic devices.
Well, I hope you get all of that and then some because you're doing such great work and you're helping so many people. How many prosthetics do you have now, just yourself?
I have 4 or 5 that I use a lot. I have, one for the shower, one for the gym, one I wear every day, and then my high heel leg. I do have a running leg, but I have to admit it's collecting some dust.
That's okay. You've earned the right for the dust. You've been doing a lot. I get it. I get it. What is your biggest vision for the foundation from here on out?
Well, I hope to someday retire from my day job, that I've been with for 19 years. And,
Wow, shout out. That's amazing. Keeping a
yeah,
job that long. That's a rarity these days.
I'd like to retire eventually and really be able to put my, focus and full-time efforts into expanding the foundation and doing more fundraisers and soliciting more donors and, doing all the things that I'd love to do to make it bigger than it is now.
I have no doubt you will do that. And I also love the fact that you are still in touch and still friends with Erin, who came back when she said, I'm going to get my husband, who came back, and her husband, Matt.
Yes, I am.
I love that. I love that. Was he a patriot?
He was, yeah.
I was like, "Why does that name sound so familiar?" That's what I thought. Well, that's a good person to pick you up and take you to where you need to be. He definitely
It
had the
definitely
strength to do
was.
that.
He could handle the job.
I think it's terrific that you are still in touch with them and that you've now, like you said, you got certified so you're able to go and speak to other people that are new to this whole process. And that must bring a lot of comfort to them, like it was brought to you when this first happened.
Yeah, I hope it does. I mean, that was one of the most important things to me was being able to actually see somebody else and what they were doing and how their life was with a prosthetic device, because I didn't know anything about it before this happened to me.
Well, as much as I wish that this never happened to you and that you didn't have to go through any of this, I'm so thankful that you have found a way to take the worst instance and help hundreds and hundreds of people with it and soon to be thousands and thousands. I am positive that this is just going to keep on growing. And I am putting out all the good vibes for a corporate sponsor because I can't think of anybody better for a sponsor to pair with.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you're
Absolutely.
right. I'm crossing my fingers too that we keep growing and we're able to help a lot more people.
You are a blessing. Thank you so much for taking time to explain all of what you're doing, and I wish you the absolute best.
Thank you very much, Erin. I appreciate it.
She is such a perfect example of somebody who is making the world a better place. She could have become extremely bitter and privately, quietly lived her own life after everything she had been through, but instead found a way to take that experience and help others who weren't as fortunate as her. And even the story she told about the one woman who was creating her cosmetic leg, how she said, "You are so lucky." She really understands that now and wants others to feel the same. There aren't enough adjectives to explain how fantastic she truly is. If you would like more information, you can go to heatherabbottfoundation.org. That's heatherabbottfoundation.org. And I am really hoping that she gets a sponsor that can make this even bigger than it is now to help the thousands of people that she wants to help. And I hear that in her voice when she says, the only thing is I just want to help everybody. I want to be able to do this for every single person that needs it. And that just shows you the kind of heart she has. So thank you again, Heather. I will forever cherish the time that I had with you today. If you know somebody who is making the world a better place, tell me about them. AaronO'Malley'sFrequency.com is my website. I will email you right back. AaronO'Malley'sFrequency.com. Thank you so much for being here today. Have a great week. Bye.